Oh, there you go, CJ. You're back now, buddy. Welcome into Sark presser. CJ, I tell you what, it sounds like you're in a wind tunnel right there, buddy. We'll grab you in just a second. We have just heard from Steve Sarkisian, Texas football coach, moments ago. He talked a little bit about the game against Vanderbilt and other aspects of it, including this opening statement where he talked a little bit about the penalties and what hurt Texas on Saturday, as well as what helped Texas with those turnovers they made. Let's listen to that from our producer, Matt Hutchison.
10 penalties in the game, and 7 of them were really impactful penalties. You know, there's times that you can get penalties and, you know, it's a false start, it's 5 yards, you know, it's 1st and 15, and there's nothing really to see here. But you have 4 penalties on offense that really negated 4 explosive runs. We get a holding on a kickoff return to start on our first return to where, yeah, what might not have been a great return, we get the ball, I think, on the 14 or 15-yard line, but we get a holding penalty, and now we have to start inside our own 10. The odds of you scoring starting inside of your own 10 diminish, you know, immensely. We have 2 penalties on the defensive side of the ball, one on a 4th and 7, a pass interference penalty that we're in great position. Manny's in awesome position. I think if he could do it all over again, he'd turn around a little quicker. He might even intercept it. But the result of a pass interference on 4th and 7 resulted in 7 points on that drive for Vanderbilt. And then later in the game, we get a roughing the passer penalty on an interception return for a touchdown. That in turn results in a touchdown for Vanderbilt again. And so you're just looking at, that's a 14-point swing on one play, a 7-point swing on another play, probably a 7-point swing when you have to start inside your own 10-yard line to start a drive, and then 4 explosive runs getting called back. Those are impactful plays in a game. And so our penalties did not come at the ideal time. I don't know if there ever is an ideal time, but those penalties did not occur at the right time, and we have to be better. That's 18 penalties now in the last 2 ball games, and we have to clean that up. I think that on the other side of it is the turnovers. You know, really, for our defense to go create 4 turnovers in that game, I know we only got 3, but they really created 4. We had the one called back, roughing the passer after he'd thrown the ball. Against a team that only had 2 turnovers all year was an awesome job by that unit to get that done. And so happy about that. Obviously, offensively now, this is 6 turnovers in 2 games. And you can't predict how and when turnovers happen or occur. I really think these were just kind of, the ball bounces a certain way sometimes. It was unfortunate for Quinn to have kind of 2 tipped balls that land in their arms. But the impact of those 2 turnovers, 14 points off of 2 turnovers. We gave them 2 short fields that they turned into points. And so playing complementary football matters. And so that's another area where we need to improve. But all in all, proud through 8 games to be where we're at. We know our best football is still ahead of us, and now it's our job to get that out of everybody so that we can play the best football we need to play that is required in November.
Sark talked a lot today about this being Texas being 7-1, CJ, and if they were to be playing on January 20th, they might be only halfway through the entire season. That's how long this season could go, with only 4 regular season games remaining. CJ, you were there. What were some of your key takeaways from Sark's press conference?
Yeah, there's still a lot of things to clean up for Texas right now. He mentioned the penalties there. He did not mention the sacks and the pass protection. 11 sacks given up in the last two games for the Texas pass protection team. That has to improve. And, of course, you can look at it for the offensive line, but tight ends not doing their job. Running backs not necessarily fitting where they need to be as well. So it's been a full group, kind of accumulation there of what Texas has to clean up with, and that's what this bye is going to be for Texas to kind of clean up those mental mistakes and get back to where they need to be in pass protection moving forward.
Yeah, he said particularly pass protection. Again, one of them was a running back bust. He said a couple of them, maybe a tight end held at one point, and then just somebody getting beat at times too. It'll be interesting to see what they do this week in their workouts. Sark gave us a glimpse of what their plans are, though, for this week. Fill everybody in on that. what Sark and the staff are going to be doing and how the team's going to be working out this week.
Of course, Texas was not on the practice field today. They did have a workout with Torrey Beckton this morning. They had team meetings, player position meetings this morning. They will be on the field Tuesday, Wednesday for a little bit of some early, prep for Florida. And then Friday, they will be off. Saturday, Sunday, they will be off. And then they will return Monday for a full week of practice ahead as well. The staff also will be on the road this weekend as well, going to go see some recruits for the 25 cycle as well as for the 2026 cycle as well. So they'll be back on the road, basically pitching Texas once again, Bobby, just very similarly to what we saw during the first the first bye week earlier this week as well.
I want to mention this. Sark talked a little bit about a couple of players. DeAndre Moore, he said, had a standout game from him in every aspect, including special teams, where he downed one on the 1 yard line and then got the secured the final kick on the onside kick, had a couple of touchdowns, and talked about how he's been a culture fit and a culture warrior of sorts for this University of Texas team.
Yeah, I mean, taking every single note from Jordan Whittington when he was here at Texas, that was a tremendous moment for DeAndre Moore and his development, his maturity as a Longhorn. Of course, when you look at it in the sense of what he was able to learn from Jay Witt, you could argue there might not have been a better Longhorn to learn from and to kind of, get that tutelage from during his first year on campus. You mentioned it. I mean, touchdown, big plays, all sorts of stuff. Give me 1 sec, Bobby.
Something going on there. Got a lot of stuff coming around there for CJ. The thing I also want to mention was not only DeAndre Moore and what he did, CJ and guys, but also he talked about Jelani McDonald making his first start and how impressed he was with what McDonald did. I also want to mention this. It wasn't mentioned in the press conference, but the news just broke moments ago. Michael Taft, co-defensive player of the week in the SEC. Great news for that young man, a former walk-on who was discussed greatly by Clark Lee and Diego Pavia in their post-game press conferences for Vanderbilt on Saturday. CJ, if you're back and available for us, I've got to ask you, if you don't mind, buddy, exactly what's going on right now as it relates to the rest of the week after they go on recruiting, and then they're back next Sunday, I think he said, for their first getting back after it. They're going to do a little bit of prep for the opponent this week. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so they'll be back on the practice schedule on Monday of next week. Of course, they'll have Tuesday and Wednesday this week that will be light workouts on the field. They'll be lifting throughout, and then Friday they will the team will have 3 days off: Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday will be a light workout with Torrey Beckton before going off to do a free weekend and enjoy the bye, rest, recover, do what you got to do. And then Monday will be full steam ahead for Florida prep. And that full week of practice will be the same as we've seen all the way leading up to game weeks this season.
All right, good stuff. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about something that Sark talked about that I found particularly interesting, CJ. The mental perseverance and physical perseverance of the Texas team right now, as well as Quinn's resiliency and what Sark saw from them. But first, I want to say thank you to our friends over at South Point. This is this episode sponsored by our friends at South Point Dodge. Texas football fans, score an easy extra point this season when you get to the point at South Point Dodge. South Point has over 600 vehicles in stock, and their award-winning sales staff doesn't do games or gimmicks. They just get straight to the point by getting you the best deal. So score big today at South Point Dodge. Come see us off I-35 in South Austin or at southpointdodge.com. Get to the point at South Point Dodge. Also, if you're looking to sell your car, get South Point's best offer over the phone or online. Again, southpointdodge.com. All right, hey, CJ, talking about the physical and mental perseverance. Sark said it really took that after losing a game like they did to Georgia. And then he said, look, we've now won 9 straight road games, obviously not including the Sugar Bowl or the game in New Orleans last year, but 9 straight road games. He says it takes a special group to do that and have that kind of concentration and ability, not just physically, but mentally.
Yeah, of course, coming back and from losing the way that Texas lost a week ago. I mean, what a comeback win on the road against a ranked team, right? And there was some confidence from Quinn Ewers, right? 17 straight completions, north of 200 yards, 3 touchdowns in the first half alone. To bounce back after that first interception was a major plus and a major benefit of being a veteran guy that trusts the system and trusts Steve Sarkisian. That was really the way that I saw Texas headlined that first half, was the play of Quinn Ewers. Of course, for Texas to now have 9 straight road victories, Bobby, it's pretty significant. And that kind of is a testament to the leadership that travels with this Texas team. Of course, it wasn't too long ago where road games were very difficult for Texas to win, regardless of who they were playing, right? You remember trips to Lawrence, Kansas. Didn't come back with a win there. You remember trips basically everywhere. Iowa State, tough place to play. TCU, tough place to play. Texas is winning these games now, and they're doing so while being tested. And so, Ann Arbor, Tuscaloosa, now Vanderbilt. I know you can speak about the home field environment there and everything that goes in that stadium. Top 25 team that was on the opposite sideline this past weekend. That will come in play later this year when Texas goes up to Fayetteville and they go down to College Station. You're going to need that experience and that cool, calm, collective approach from the entire team to play well on the road and beat good teams.
Couple of comments I want to get to now about Quinn Ewers, because he had a couple of different pieces he mentioned there. Sark did. First of all, he talked about Quinn's resiliency. And if you think about it, Quinn was resilient on Saturday. Very first throw of the game for him that was truly a forward pass and not that was going to go beyond the line of scrimmage was an interception on a batted ball. Sark called out Quinn's resiliency. He said a lot of players would have gone down and had their head down and not been able to come back from that. Could have been all in their head. Quinn then went 17 for 17 after that. Sark was really impressed with that, and also talked about how quickly Quinn was getting the ball out of his hands. That one throw in particular on that touchdown to DeAndre Moore, the third touchdown of the game for the Longhorns, Sark called out as really, really special.
Yeah, that one specifically was a wheel route, a bit of a rub, and as a result, DeAndre Moore became wide open, and it was a pressure off the edge. Quinn got the ball out quickly, and he got it perfectly in stride for DeAndre Moore to leap up, make the catch, and make a guy miss while not missing a beat with his momentum. He said that was one of the big highlights of the day for Quinn Ewers, and there, in my eyes, there was a few, right? The 3rd and 20 to Silas Bowling, where he steps up, climbs the pocket, a 2nd and 19, climbs the pocket again, finds Ryan Wingo. Those are all plays where Quinn is stepping up, finding rhythm, passing opportunities, and delivering a strike. Accuracy for the most part has not been an issue for Quinn Ewers. It's been about the reads, the progressions, the decision-making when it comes to finding who and when he's going to pull the trigger to throw the football to. And again, we've seen that be an issue for Steve Sarkisian and Quinn Ewers this year. 18 of the 37 passes that I charted in the rewatch from last night were passes within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. So how do you get that vertical passing game going? Well, I asked Steve Sarkisian that this afternoon, and he kind of gave me a short answer, but it was, hey, if they move up, if the defensive backs move up, we will throw it over the top of them. Right now, defensive backs are still playing kind of wary and cautiously for the deep ball. So they're playing deep. The short throws are available. And right now, Quinn's taking it. And I like the adage here. You can't go broke taking a profit, Bobby. Every gambler knows that. But right now, with the way that Quinn in this offense is moving, it's kind of slow, methodical underneath and let the guys work after the catch. You'd like to see some more vertical shots, some more intermediate throws. But right now, as long as you're not forcing them and putting the ball in harm's way, I think you have to be somewhat pleased with the idea that the offense can still move the ball the way that they have against Vanderbilt early in that game.
Sark was also asked, CJ, about a variety of young players that just haven't been seeing much time of late. Jonte Cook, Jere Bledsoe, Sadir Mitchell. He's also asked about the health of Jalen Gilbo. Sark said Gilbo is fine. No worries there. He also talked about getting Isaiah Bond back and wanted him healthy for this next run here. So he's going to be back. Expect that to be announced whenever they do release the next injury report, that Bond will be fine. But what did you think of him? He mentioned Jonte Cook and getting him involved more than once in this press conference. He said all of these guys are at different phases of their development. But what did you make of that with that conversation with Jonte Cook?
Yeah, I mean, you don't mention them twice if you don't have some sort of plan for them, right? That's kind of my understanding there. And, of course, to follow that up, everybody has their own path for Jonte. He's only seen 11 snaps on the field since ULM, in which he played about 35, right? It's been a bit of a roller coaster for him. He had an opportunity against Mississippi State to have a big-time splash play, and unfortunately, it fell a little flat. So it's all about earning the trust of this team again, right? We saw it a year ago with Jaden Blue. Early in that season, he had a couple fumbles. They obviously did not go back to him early in that season until pure necessity out of injury. Right now, Jonte Cook kind of on that similar path. You got to work your way back into the good graces with the coaching staff, and I think that's what practice is for right now, especially in this bye week. On the defensive side of the ball, and I had this conversation earlier on Texas Football in regards to where's Dre Bledsoe, where's Aaron Bryant? Well, here's the deal, and this was the situation a year ago with the Texas wide receivers. When you got all conference caliber guys, why are you taking them off the field, right? Alfred Collins, this is the best version that we've seen from him as a Texas Longhorn. Vernon Broughton playing the best that he's played as a Texas Longhorn. And Jermaine Lele, the last 2 weeks, he's really came along strong and played very good football. Who are you taking off the field there? And that was the situation we saw last year with the wide receivers. How do you get these young guys involved when A.D. Mitchell, Jordan Whittington, Xavier Worthies are the guys out there that you can trust making plays time and time again? Right now, that's kind of what we're seeing on the defensive line. It's all about sticking to your line of progression and development, and that's key for these guys who are still in their younger stages as Texas Longhorns, working to get on the field down the road.
All right, CJ Vogel on site there at DKR just after Steve Sarkisian's press conference. CJ, one final comment from you on this press conference. What did you think of Steve Sarkisian overall today? Do you feel like he was excited to be 7-1 heading into a bye week? Felt like he had some time to think about what he wanted to do and how they wanted to approach the rest of this year? Because it kind of felt that way. I listened in as well. It kind of felt that way to me. He was almost in a contemplative state. Like, hey, I got to take all this in and figure this all out and where we're going with stuff. What did you think?
Yeah, in a way, it felt like a relief. Okay, we made it to the second bye week. We got 4 games remaining in the regular season, but Sarkisian mentioned it several times as well. This is basically halftime. This is the midway point of our season, or at least what we hope our season turns into. And again, that's playing all the way till January, middle of January, right, with all these playoff games, with the hopes of going to the national championship. To get to where they are right now, 7-1, I think coming into the year, most Texas fans would have had it predicted this way, or at least been very pleased, right? That Georgia game, as they expected, that was the game that teetered what this team would be, 7-1, 8-0, whatever it might be. But you do come off of a win on the road against an SEC top 25 team. It's all about finding ways to continue to improve. That's pass protection, that's penalties, and taking care of the rock.
All right. That's going to do it for this update. Thanks again to our partner at South Point Dodge for making this report possible. CJ, it looks like it's windy there in Austin today. I know you didn't have your the regular mic on, but we appreciate your report nonetheless. We'll be back today at around 3:15. CJ, Rod Babers, as well as Coach Bob Shipley with the winning drive. They'll have more from Steve Sarkisian's press conference during that. And then Jerry Hamilton and I are back at 7 o'clock tonight for Talking Ball, where we'll be answering your questions about not only this press conference, but Texas football and recruiting in general. Our Jerry Hamilton actually out right now at American Heritage High School visiting with quarterback Dia Bell, 2026 commitment. All right, for CJ Vogel, as well as our producer, Matt Hutchinson, I'm Bobby Burton. That's been this Sark press conference update for On Texas Football. Hook 'em.